very few people get that. So like when I went to the immigration, they said, where are you coming from? Qatar. Where? Qatar. Oh, okay. For what? And then you have to have that 5-minute conversation. But it's usually like, most people, it's something you have to be there to really appreciate it. But okay, so I'm the safety coordinator there at Texas A&M, and we'll go over the slides here. Got to talk a little bit slower because I haven't caught up to the altitude. Usually I go through my slides so fast people start bidding, but in this case, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so topics for today, my personal background we'll go over briefly, the history of both the country and the Qatar Foundation, some of the challenges we face, our advantages and initiatives. So you can see there, that's actually a camel made out of Legos. This is in one of the shopping malls. This is a mock shipping facility or shipping vessel that is at a sister institution at the Teaks in Qatar, which is also based on the Teaks at College Station. So you can see there. Okay, so about 12 years ago, I started in safety, working in Kuwait. I was a defense contractor. There were a lot of wrecks, so we focused a lot on driver safety, both in tactical and regular vehicles. And I did that for several years, and in 2011, I went back to Texas, where I was from, and worked in oil and gas, and learned what it took to make that work. So finally, about 2 years ago, I went to Texas A&M at Qatar and learned what that process is. So I've been to 3 different types of institutions. Some of the common threads I've seen in all 3 is basically people having a negativity bias towards anytime you do some kind of audit, there's a reluctance to mention anything positive. Usually it's looking for something negative and trying to put into the report and getting it to management. So I've had some success with pushing people towards not just the negative findings, but also pointing out some positive things. We talked about that at Texas A&M, and we also give rewards during our safety week for things like that. Something else, in Kuwait, they really were very diligent about having all our safety documentation run through top management. So they would have a monthly meeting, and it would actually be signed off by the senior managers. So I used that and applied it to my oil and gas job with Oxy Petroleum, and we started doing a little bit of that with Texas A&M. It's a different structure. We have lab managers that we send our documents through to review, but that's kind of one of the best practices. Is I can write a SOP, and if it makes sense to me, that's good, but it needs to make sense to the people in the operations or the line or the faculty that are going to be using it. So that's why we just kind of have that check and balance there. I think it's worked out pretty good. Also, incident investigation, I would say probably was strongest in oil and gas just because we had a taproot investigation system. We fortunately haven't had to investigate very many incidents at Texas A&M. And we did some in my original job, but we didn't have a strong methodology for getting to a root cause analysis. So fortunately, I've been able to take my skills with writing some corrective actions, and when we do have something come up, we're able to write corrective actions that make sense, because no one wants to write corrective actions and they don't have anything to do with fixing the root cause. So that's a little bit of that. I would say that there's very little carryover from each position. You know, when I got to Texas A&M, I thought a base was something you put flowers in. So I didn't really get caught up on the chemicals until I got in there, but that's been good because I've been learning at each opportunity. So this is just an idea of where we're at, small country, you know, in the Persian Gulf, so not very big at all. Okay, history of Qatar is very similar to like the history of Kuwait. Prior to oil and gas discovery, there was a lot of pearl diving and very nomadic type of people. The bottom 2 photos are photos from a museum, so you can kind of see they honor their past, but you know obviously they've changed quite a bit. And they're one of the leaders in the region for higher education. So we have 6 American universities, and there are also some other European universities in Qatar. So you can see them in the top right. There's a lot of modern architecture in Qatar. That's a photo of a shopping mall. So there's quite a bit of building going on, especially because we have the World Cup coming, and also just as part of their national vision. Okay, the Qatar Foundation, as part of the group that I work for, Texas A&M has, there's also 5 other schools that are part of QF. So we have some dotted line accountability to QF along to our main campus, and we meet once a month. This Qatar Foundation was founded about 20 years ago, and that was by the then Amir's wife. She's still involved in the program, and I saw her about 6 months ago in one of the functions. It's a nonprofit, private institution, and it supports the people of Qatar. It also supports people in the region that go to class, and it does have outreach programs. So it's not just for the locals, but there is a research arm. We do quite a bit of research, and that's grant funded, so that's part of what we do. But you can see there's a wide breadth. On the next slide, that's not a really good photo. I've got one more after this, but you can see our school right about here. And then that's Carnegie Mellon, Cornell, and Georgetown and Northwestern. And then VCU is over here. So there's quite a bit of building going on. That's a little bit more streamlined. These are all within walking distance. Now these are some of the newer campuses, and VCU is the oldest. It's been there the longest. Okay, you can see just a timeline. You know, Texas A&M, we're right in the middle. So we graduated, I think, around 400 students, and we're one of the bigger colleges. And I'll explain the difference of why there are 6 different universities and what the charter is. Okay, so each institution has a different focus. You can see for VCU, they're not like their main campus. They focus on arts education, graphic design, things like that. Cornell, that's the pre-medical program, so they are specialized in nurses and doctors, things like that. We're the engineering, so we're focused on different forms of engineering. Now, people do go there and they take their liberal arts classes to get their degree, but primarily it's an engineering school. CMU is business administration. Georgetown is, they have a lot of foreign service, diplomat type of career paths, and Northwestern is communications and journalism. So you can see all 6 of them. While there's been some push to try to allow students to go from one campus to another, say take an engineering class at A&M and take a business class at CMU, we're working on the schedules to make that easier for the students to do. There's been a lot of push for that. But in many ways, once you're assigned to a particular campus, then that's where you're going to take the majority of your classes. So they're all very close to each other. We meet once a month with safety people from all 6 of these campuses. We have a HVAC meeting, so that's like a hazard vulnerability assessment program, and we just talk about some relevant issues. Okay, some of the challenges we've had, obviously with being a research institution, when I was in industry, very critical to report everything. You talk to some people every now and then, they are reluctant to report near misses, things like that, first aids even, we found out about them late. So we have to kind of refocus people that have been with the school maybe since it